Right. Hello, welcome. I will be going over Jojo Rabbit. Uh, a wonderful film. Uh, Based off of the book Caging Skies, written by Christine Lunens and directed by Taika Waititi. Uh, this film is wonderful film. I'm only going to go over my review at the end. I want to give a more objective look at all of the different elements that went to this film. Um, I'm going over much of what the textbook has taught me this year on how to observe film. So I am going to go over each individual trait that was most interesting or stood out the most to me personally. Uh, but yeah, basically, just an overall review first. Jojo Rabbit is the film of this boy named Jojo in the middle who is born, not born. It takes place during around the end of the Nazi regime, the Third Reich. Uh, it is when the army is starting to lose. Uh, I think Italy got taken over, they were heading into France, and then slowly this film leads up all the way into the Americans and Russians' invasion into Germany, where the boy Jojo lives. It very much shows the slow descent and downfall of the Third Reich in the Nazi army, and it goes over the very personal story of Jojo and his internal conflict with the propaganda that he was taught and having to choose over his humanity or the propaganda and lies and hatred that has been taught to him for the past roughly 5 years. Um, in it, we see that he has an imaginary friend who is Hitler, uh, and he has to sort of fight against him or kind of go kind of clash with the ideals as he finds out that a Jewish girl is being harbored by his own mother. His father is apparently missing in action in the war, and his mother is currently in the process of trying to sort of bring an internal rebellion in Germany at the time, which is highly illegal. Throughout the film, he is contested with if he should turn her in but risk his entire family's safety. Um, he sort of gets multiple times conflicted with his own personal views as multiple people give their own take on everything. He hears sarcasm on if they're going to win the war. Uh, he hears the very obvious lies of how Jewish people are depicted, and as it starts to sound more and more unreal, he realizes more and more that he may have been lied to. It is a great film. I highly recommend it. And the main reason why I chose this film was because I have such an extensive knowledge over World War II. And I remember watching this when I was 12, and I realized that I don't remember a whole lot of it. And rewatching it now, I realized I love this movie so much more, especially after learning so much in this class. So I'm just gonna get started. Um, First, I will start off with the genre. It is all at the same time a comedy, a drama, and a war film. It felt so strange watching it, especially at first, as it talks about um, important topics while at the same time keeping it lighthearted. And at first, I thought it was weird and flawed, but I learned that it sort of went along with the message. And much of the comedy was meant to ironically show that how flawed the nation is in their way of thinking. And it's also a comfortable way of keeping people into the film without overthinking it or anything or getting too nervous or it kind of just keeps people more comfortable and keep more reeled into the film. Uh, but I have more extensive opinions later on about that. Then there's the theme. This film is very much focused on character. It's all about the internal conflict of Jojo and how he has to fight it. He is very much depicted as a rabbit, especially by his imaginary Hitler friend. Um, it he has been told to be depicted as a rabbit, mostly due to the fact that they are smart, cunning, and quick, and this is to represent how fast and how much he has to think through all of these different thoughts and how he has to go around being discovered. Oh, my Siri went off. Oops. Sorry about that. Um, it's a great analogy, especially in the film. The reason why he was depicted and told that he was a rabbit is because he went to a camp and he had to be told to kill a rabbit to show that he could be hard and strong for his country. But in the end, he just couldn't, and he tries to let the rabbit free. Um, Very, very well used of theme. It goes very much into the mind of this boy. Um, Next, there are the elements. First, it is a linear film. It does feel like it sort of starts in the middle of everything, but it does end up giving a background to every little character and what's going on. We do learn very quickly we are around the end of World War II, and as in the beginning, they're saying that they're starting to lose land. The soldiers are getting closer. However, they must be strong. And then, like I said, at the end of the film, they lose the war. Um, the characterization is super well. Mostly Jojo, I think, develops the most. Like I said, he is a rabbit. He moves quickly through these ideologies, and he really thinks about them quickly. Um, there's a lot of symbolism as well, like the one I'm displaying right here. That is his mother, and in the beginning, he is talking with her about love and humanity, and in that moment, he's trying to deny it, and he's trying to stay true to his nation. And then it cuts to his mother, who has been hung to her death, and he has to stare at those same shoes. Um, she's killed, by the way, because they caught her trying to start this rebellion. Super, super sad scene, and when you realize what has happened, it hits you like a truck. No, like it hits you like a bullet train, really. I almost cried in my own room from this. Um, there is a lot of use of irony. The characters, like I said, they're very comedic. He's told so many great things about his country and his race, and he very much realizes that it's all crumbling, and he has to really cope with that. Um, it's very amazing. I love the use of irony in this film, and I think it really does help with the sort of comedic feeling overall. Uh, and then next, there is the acting. I want to start that there are many child actors, especially JoJo, and it is always impressive to me to see a child actor, especially one as JoJo, as he has to depict so many different emotions that many children probably are not comfortable or more knowledgeable about in their life, especially the fear and the sadness that he has to feel when he cries and he screams and he feels joy. It's such a wide range, and it was done very well. Uh, there are some actors that are, again, really silly and comedic, um, and it shows how dumb the false propaganda is. Uh, that, for example, Jewish people are depicted as, demons with serpent tongues, and then he sees one, and it's like nothing like he's told. And another thing is these same characters really feel like they're Nazis the way that they express hatred. It's like they were born for it, even though I personally believe most people are not. Um, and there are many others, like this man to the left. He's very important to JoJo, and he sort of seeds doubt into him about his country. He sort of hints and shows that he knows that his country is going to fail. Um, it is actually a little Easter egg. Is there is a scene where his when you first see him, he has a paperclip, and that is to represent Operation Paperclip, which was a very huge failed operation that started the decline of the German army in World War II, and it shows that he was part of it, uh, as he was told that he got kicked out of the army for it, and now he just teaches children how to become Nazis. Um, I think some actors were interpreters. There are a few characters that I saw were like comedians, and they just expressed that sort of comedy while also very much going into the role of being a ignorant person. There were some that were able to take more serious roles that they're used to, like many of the actors as the Gestapo. But I think one of the characters that I think did so much more than what she may have been used to in many other films is JoJo's mother, depicted on the right. Uh, I had mostly seen her in more like action films and just trying to be cool and the sort of femme fatale, but in this case, she's being a mother trying to start a rebellion. Yes, those are both sort of action like, but she's taking a more background look on it. She's not trying to become the head of it or, the face of the movie, but she's such an important character in the background, and I think she did amazing with her acting. Many of these actors did well with their acting, and I should note that the director was actually also the actor for JoJo's invisible imaginary friend Hitler, which I only learned after I watched the film, which was incredible to me. Uh, Next, there are the sound effects and the dialogue. The use of sound in this film, it just felt so satisfying. The little tappings on the ceiling, the use of the explosions, the music, especially around the end. Uh, in this scene that I'm showing right now, Elsa and Jojo. Elsa is the Jewish girl that was living in his home. This is the scene when they're sort of really getting close together. They're asking each other what their dreams are as they watch the city that they're in is slowly closing in on the end of the war. And it's slowly nearing. It's a sort of symbolism that with this dramatic and violent change, they will have the goals that they seek. Um, the dialogue is wonderful. The many different thoughts and ideas that are put together in this entire film are so important to how JoJo develops in every little way. And again, it still stays true to the use of comedy to keep you sort of in check, to keep you occupied on the film. Um, the cinematography, also wonderful. It was a sort of subjective point of view. Like I said, it's all in the mind of this boy JoJo and his tackling with his country and and how he has to deal with this regime. It's mostly in a third person view, as we can see things that JoJo doesn't see, like when his mother talks to the Jewish girl without him knowing about it. But it's still displayed most of the time through his thoughts and emotions, especially as me, or I should say the viewer, JoJo, and JoJo are the only people that can see his fake Hitler friend. Um, so it stays third person while it's also very much subjective onto JoJo's mind. Um, and this sort of cameras that are the way that the camera is used, the camera is above him, I think, for most of the times when he feels that he is above the world. And then in this scene that's shown here, this is when they finally reach his home, when the war is right about to end, and he is seeing all of the horrors of the war. He's seeing all of this blind action to go and fight, and yet he knows that they're going to lose. And he's tackling with this is the final one of the final, I think, most convincing moments to him that he was wrong about everything. His country isn't strong. His ideals aren't strong. Nothing was as anyone said. And I think this scene was the very moment that he realized it. And it's so perfectly put together with this camera angle. Um, and then with talking about cameras, I do want to mention the use of color was amazing. I found these images that sort of show um, the different uses of color for these different scenes. Like the one on the top left, his mother scolding him for thinking down on himself because of his scars and how he looks. The second one shown is he's nervous on his first date. This is the beginning of the scene, and you can sort of feel the nervous tension in the air as he gets ready for his first day in his like Nazi boot camp. And then in the third scene is a nice, happy time where his mother starts talking about love and how he desires for his child to just be a child and not be so wrapped up on politics and trying to be so harsh on himself and to the world. The color was so beautiful, and there was never a scene where I didn't feel absolutely grateful for what I was looking at. Um, and then there's the editing. Again, it is such a hard thing to look at, and thankfully I found some videos over it. And it was claimed that they had filmed so many scenes that they could have made this completely a comedy or completely a drama, but they chose to put it together enough to be mostly a drama, to mostly show the anti-war aspects while also keeping it lighthearted and a comedy to keep people focused onto the film, like I've said. Um, and it is also stated that many of the scenes are edited with the colors and everything, camera, zoom in, all of that to depict Jojo and his mind as close as they could. They also warped time to not only fit scenes properly so that it didn't feel too rushed, it didn't feel too slow. They were able to fit so many days, even though there's roughly a year left in this war, maybe just months even. Um, and there were also these two important uses of slow motion I noticed. At the beginning, in the image shown here, this is a slow motion scene of him fully embracing his patriotism and his pride towards his country as he is running off with this grenade, which will soon blow him up. Again, another use of symbolism on how his way of thinking will ultimately destroy himself and how it has destroyed others. But at the end, in the previous scene where I talked about cinematography, it also slows down again as he's going through that big final change. Both of these slow motions are his mind slowing down to realize a new point of view in his life. It's absolutely genius work of editing, and I think this is one of those scenes that will forever make me grateful for editing. And then finally, I'm going to go over my personal review. Um, Personally, I think it was an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10. I'm not good with these numbers and charting it down, but this was a wonderful movie, and I would even watch it right now again. Probably, preferably with somebody. Uh, but it's such a wonderful movie. The acting was so, so wonderful. I couldn't get enough of it. They were so good at staying comedic while also being so serious and putting out their ideas so well. The color and the cinematography, it chef's kiss, honestly. Every single scene was so refreshing and so beautiful. I couldn't get enough. The sounds, like I said before, they were satisfying. The gunshots, the explosions, the little tapping on the walls when they rummage through when the Gestapo rummages through his house and you can hear every little page and every little drawer being opened. It's so wonderful. Symbolism, again, really, really smart. Like I said, with the slow motion, with the paperclip, um, even right here, which I'm being shown, was foreshadowed before that in his final battle, if he could, that he wanted to go out in this shining way, even though he knew it was going to fail. The symbolism is beautiful, especially through the use of color. Absolutely wonderful. And I think the most important thing is I've looked into this very much before the making of this, and this film is very historically accurate. Many critics have claimed that they do it really well in this film, with getting the timeline down, getting all the facts down, the use of props down. It's wonderful. They did wonderful with the history. And I think that's got to be one of the most difficult challenges in this film to make something historically accurate and still entertaining without having to warp anything. My only flaw, I have to say though, is the comedy did feel overused. I did feel at times it felt sort of put into too important scenes, or it just felt so overused that it felt like it was trying to downplay the harshness of the film. But then again, I have heard the opposite from people that they felt the comedy was used right to kind of bring down the silly use of all the propaganda and stuff, which I can see. But I feel like, in my personal opinion, the comedy just felt way too overused. Um, but that's the end of my review. Jojo Rabbit is definitely, I want to say, in one of my favorite films. I've seen many, so I couldn't tell you where I would place it, but it's such a wonderful movie. I recommend almost every single person I will talk to watch this movie, despite the harsh nature of it and the graphic words and the graphic cinematography. It's wonderful, wonderful film. Even though I've said so much already, if you haven't seen it, go see it anyways. I'm told uh, I seen something that actually talked about how being spoiled can actually make you enjoy a film more. It might have been in the textbook. I could be wrong. Uh, but this film is wonderful. Go watch it. 9 out of 10. Jojo Rabbit. And have a great day.